effective onboarding programs increase productivity by 70%.
The first impression with people, you can feel in the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes of a discussion how people are.
What type of solutions that you see that we can improve that turnover rate?
I think if you properly hire by culture is one big step. The people that you do attract to your business, if they are culturally minded the same way that your business is set up, or that, then you already have a very big step towards retaining people.
Today's episode is the second of a series of 3 episodes about onboarding and training in the hotel industry. We're in a conversation with my big friend, Nah-Dja Tien. My name is Mauricio Schuler, and you're listening to the Schuler in Hub Talking Hospitality podcast. On this episode, we are discussing and talking about techniques to help onboarding your hotel staff that will stay longer and reduce staff turnover in your hotel. So I hope you enjoy, and if you need to follow up and discover a little bit more, go back to the episode 1 to learn about the past of onboarding and Nah-Dja's experience. And we're going to have the third one about the future of onboarding. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Nah-Dja, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Mauricio. I'm very happy to be back. Thank you.
Nah-Dja, I love having you here. And you mentioned that the managers, some owners or some operators see the manager's job as being this trainer around, but they also have so many jobs around themselves, like reporting and accounting and inventory. They have so many other things to do. So if they are onboarding a new staff every 4 months, that this is the European average right now, every 4 months, they need to onboard someone that normally takes about 3 months to get them ready for the job, but they have all these other tasks around them. How they manage to actually train people and perform the jobs at the same time?
I think if you're a little bit logical, what you just said, the result is that everything is done like halfway. Yeah, it's not done 100%. And okay, I don't have time today, so just whatever. It is difficult juggling. I mean, being a general manager of a hotel, I in the past very much compared it to being a Superman. Yeah, you need to do everything. Yeah, and you need to do it fast and strong. Managers, general managers, it doesn't make a difference. And of course, the bottom line is the most important. And do some hotels care that they have, not very good feedback from the clients? If the profit is still okay-ish, then why to improve it? It is difficult to find that balance, or even to say, if I do improve it, how much will that impact my bottom line? We will go to the future afterwards, but I am very positive that things can be done way better than how it is currently done.
And you said something very interesting now, because how it affects the bottom line. And what I've seen is hotels, hoteliers, and managers, they do not compute their hours, their training hours as cost of hiring, right? Once you start understanding the cost of hiring, then yes, you can start understanding the return on investment on having a more structured onboarding or training.
No.
Let's change the mood. Let's change to some solutions then. What type of solutions that you see that we can improve that turnover rate?
I think if you properly hire by culture is one big step. The people that you do attract to your business, if they are culturally minded the same way that your business is set up, or that if it's just a general manager is set up, then you already have a very big step towards retaining people. I don't think we should dream, Mauricio, that people will enter hotel business and stay there for 35 years and then have their pension. It happens still in the era of my parents. The people that worked for my parents, they worked there for 30 years. They came as little boys and girls and they stayed there, but it's different time. You are also a big fan of adventure, of hospitality. It's an amazing industry. to be able to go and to go around. So you do need to have some kind of a system to rehire. But first step, culture. Second step, the education part. If you go into an organization and somebody had some thought about what the onboarding process is like, you feel that, okay, this actually makes sense. I can imagine that you, I mean, you worked in the hospitality industry. If you go somewhere and somebody throws you into the deep water and say, have nice swimming, good luck. This is not something that you say after a couple of months, okay, this is absolutely amazing.
On the book that I'm reading, that was a very interesting example of a waiter that arrived to first day on Mother's Day in a restaurant. So it was the busiest day for that restaurant in the year. And the manager, of course, was completely overwhelmed with the whole situation. So just gave an apron and say, go there, talk to your colleagues. They will help you to do what you have to do. And that person was completely lost, completely anxious about everything. So didn't take action, was afraid to approach people, didn't know how to do things, and start sitting more to the back, start to be quieter. Then the colleagues start to get stressed because she's not helping, and create a whole environment. The person gets completely depressed and runs crying and leaves the job on the day, right? He just left the job on the day, left everything behind because was just thrown into fire. And I've seen this so many times. I've seen this story so many times.
I am a very good example of that, Mauricio. I mean, I have been thrown into new hotels where nothing was set up. I need to set everything up myself. But I really do not like it if I am thrown into a situation that I don't know, whether it's technical, in the IT industry that I used to work in, and somebody tells me do something, but technically I don't know how, yeah, or whatever other situation. I really do not like it. So I would be also running away, yeah, and I think some people, they just wing it, yeah, and they become maybe very successful in the hospitality industry because they just wing it, and whether it's good or bad, they don't care. And other people, they're very precise. I am the one that does not like to just wing it. I need to have things under control.
No, and I will tell you, when it comes to being new in a location, almost nobody likes to be thrown in the fire. And I will make a parallel because one solution you said is hire by culture. And I think that this is super, super important for that team environment. Second one is really getting to an onboarding system and preparing them. And I will make a parallel with what we do with our guests as a hotel, right? So why is so important to send a pre-arrival email giving the instructions, how to arrive in the hotel, who you speak with, what time is the check-in, what time is the checkout, what time is breakfast. You are giving your guests all that communication before they arrive, and you understand the value of onboarding your guests to your hotel before they arrive. So why do we think that the staff is a different type of a human being? Why we don't think that employees should have a pre-arrival, pre-employment phase where we understand the phase just as the pre-arrival guest, an employment phase just as in stay, and then a post-employment phase just as when the guests leave. Because every single person that is working in our hotel today will leave at some point. They'll either leave because they want, they either leave because they gotta get fired, or they gotta leave because they will retire.
And the cool thing nowadays is that this can all be done very simple and very automated.
It's very simple. Very simple. You're gonna get there. And I'll bring some numbers when it comes to onboarding as well. Effective onboarding programs increase productivity by 70%. That's bottom line is straight away. Upselling, better service, better guest experience reviews. And employees are 69% more likely to stay 3 years in the job if they experience a great onboarding. So we're going to give some ideas from onboarding, our framework here with Schulering, and how we help hotels to structure and give a better onboarding experiences for employees, what we call the stay onboarding experience. Should I go? Do you want to go? How do we do that, Nah-Dja?
Well, maybe we can start with what the STAY stands for. Yeah, the STAY framework. The pillars of that, the standards, the training, the acculturation, and your role in it. These are specific steps that actually make a lot of sense in onboarding process. Starting with the standards. If you have a system that could be your own system, but you need to have some standards. It cannot be that somebody comes into your organization and you have no clue and there's nowhere written what to do. Obviously, this is not very good onboarding. So to have some standards is one thing. Most simple one is a piece of paper, like here you go. And the most, let's say, the other side of the medal is a whole system that you can implement also with standards. As you know, I'm a big fan of Notion. I mean, Schulering is running on Notion. It's something that really people should look into. The training part, maybe you can talk about the training part.
I would just hold back a little bit more on the standard parts, because it's not about being robotic. It's about giving them knowledge and knowing where to find this knowledge when they need. You need to call the manager at 3 o'clock in the morning, or the alarm went off because a drunk guest pressed a button and you never knew what to do. So giving that knowledge in a way that they can find is awesome and is important. It's for your own mental health.
I like it how you say awesome.
But it's true, right? As you said, it can be a paper. Of course, it can be a folder that is in the drawer. It's just harder to update. It can be very simple. It can be a Google Drive document, or it can be, as I love, you brought Notion to our company in that structured way. You can just search for that information and you find it. And yes, let's get to training. T for training. T. And training, we said it's about all people. It's training on what you need to do. It's super important. And we believe that this training should start even before the pre-employment phase. And it always a really communication. I've been told that I'm very naive to believe that people will read the email and go through the training before they start working. You can give opportunity to people to already get ahead, and you will find the stars of your team by doing that. There is only positives about sending an email 1-2 weeks before they start the employment and giving them access to training and onboarding. Onboarding is the basics that you use, the standards, use the things that they do on a daily basis. For example, just by providing language training on specific job related tasks, improve their employee satisfaction and performance, because they understand what they are being told and what they have to do. So they feel better in the job and they stay longer if they just have a little language course. Training doesn't need to be done by managers as well. It can be a workshop. You can bring someone from outside to do a workshop into hospitality training, into storytelling, into marketing, and bring some experts to help out the team. So you can ask them as well. This very important part of the process, I think, the audit, understanding what people in the organization want to learn as well. It can be done via online courses, of course, right? We can buy courses and deliver that to your staff that they can learn on their own time. We had some very interesting podcasts lately with the frontline performance group that help front desks to upsell sustainability as well, ESGs. And we are bringing these networks of specialists into our network to help hoteliers to find as well. On numbers again, companies that invest in training see 24% higher profit margins. It's really not only about retention, but it's about bottom line. Hey, Nah-Dja, culturation.
Yeah, this is my thing, right?
Yes.
This is something that I very much believe in. You know, if you are able to have, again, a system where you can go out into the world. So this is who we are, maybe very personal, something that we call a cultural deck. You are obviously able to attract people that are like-minded without I mean, I'm talking again many, many years ago when I opened up my first hotel. Without really thinking about it, it just came natural to me. I put an advertisement in the newspaper that I am opening up a new hotel. And I mentioned the way that the hotel would be. It would be a boutique hotel. It would be small. And one of the things that I put in there is that instead of bellboys, carrying the suitcases and greeting I wanted bell girls. Yeah. And just that little thing, it attracted a whole different kind of people to say, we are interested. The fact that I have Diesel, or I had Diesel at the time, clothing all of us. So we had Diesel jeans, Diesel dresses. So bell girls and Diesel, that were two cultural things that were like magnets, and I attracted the right people. And that was also the first hotel that within 4 months became the best rated hotel in the whole Czech Republic. So acculturation, make people part of your hotel culture is a big, big part. The system of how to get into that culture, to get people part of your WhatsApp messaging group, your welcoming email, the culture of sharing through a buddy system. All of that is I think very important. Cultural deck is the first step. Show to the people who you are, be personal, and you hire the right people. Yeah, so that is something that I'm a big fan of, and I'm happy to put that into our stay framework.
It's not about hiring the best candidate you find. It's hiring the right candidate that you find, because the best candidate, when they see a poor working culture, they just leave because they know they can find work anywhere. They are great. If you hire the best candidate, but you don't have a great culture, you don't have a welcome, you don't have the structures, they come, they see, they stay a month, they leave. Right? And then it's your cost of hiring someone that wasn't your fit. So it's by finding this culture that's awesome to find the right person that will stay.
Do you want to hear a little story?
Yeah, please.
Hiring the right people. At a certain moment, I needed to open up another hotel, one of my hotels, and I decided to organize a sangria party recruitment evening. So I did it actually in one of my previous hotels. We had a time where the recruitment was supposed to start, an interview with Nah-Dja, with me as a general manager, but everybody was invited at the same time. So we had like 40 people that were interested to work in that hotel. You were greeted in a nice atmosphere, nice music, sangria on the table, sit down, and Nah-Dja, you will have some speed dating event with Nah-Dja to actually do that. Talking about the best candidates, some of the candidates probably very good at their job. They came at the door, they were greeted by the host who said, okay, welcome, have a glass of sangria. Yeah, but we're here for an interview. Yeah, in a suit and a tie and everything else. And yeah, sit down, have a glass of sangria, and we will do this interview with Nah-Dja on a different way. They just turned around and left, because for them it was so don't even know how to say it. It was not their thing. Yeah, they go for an interview, they sit down and whatever, and to be part of this. And the end of the story is that the interview process was not done by me. Of course, the first impression with people, you can feel in the first 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the discussion how people are. But the real discovery of the talent in the group of 40 people was done by people that already worked for me, that were part of those 40 people. Yeah, so those people, you can then hear the feedback. This is such a strange environment. I don't know what we're doing here. And you have the leaders and the followers and the people that are just quiet, and the people that say, oh, this Nah-Dja, he's such a crazy guy. So yes, I do things a little bit differently. This is just an example. But hiring by culture, I think not everybody has that luxury as well. Sometimes you just need people, and whoever comes along, you hire them because there's no choice. But if you can hire by culture, it is a big step in the right direction.
When you say that not everyone has this opportunity to hire by culture because they need someone to fill up a gap, and I understand. I had that conversation actually yesterday with a manager. What I was telling them is that their first job after we done an audit with the staff, we learn a lot about the staff. And one big surprising thing is how invested in learning the staff are. And they didn't know that. They always thought that the staff didn't want to learn anything. And they are very invested in learning. They were very critical of the company for not having structured training. And the first job is now design your ideal candidate. Who is your perfect candidate? And you put these competencies in order of importance, right? Because once you have that, once you know who you want to work with, we can create training processes to reach to that ideal candidate. Once we map, once you know what you want, it's a lot easier to be building this team, even if it's in an urgent situation. And then we get to your role. Well, as you are speaking about exactly that, right? Building what your ideal candidate is. This is something that we don't think enough about, but it's where the skill gap in hospitality. If you don't know the skills you want in your team, there is always a skill gap. If you don't know what you want, you're always going to look at the things that you don't have. That's so important to really map what type of skills I want in my team. What's the toxic employee like for you? And I understand that each hotel will have a different idea of what a toxic employee is. And it's okay. It's about your culture. It's about your business. We don't need to tell you how to create your own culture. We just help you to create one. And there is space for everybody. And as long as you know what you're selling and what you need, you will build a team that will stay. When you come to your role, that's the why of the stay, is really important that the employees understand the job description. We should always include this, what success looks like. So in the next 3 months, what I'm looking for in you that can prove that you did well. The KPIs, the key performance indicators, write it down and let them know. I don't know how many times I've heard stories of managers that they really want to see people stressed by not giving them the information that they need, just that to test them. And the last thing that's super important that we don't do enough is creating structured feedback sessions. Then in the end of the first week, there is a scheduled feedback session with the manager. The manager can give feedback on what they learn and can listen to the employee as well. And then they should have a second feedback session after 15 days. Then after the first month, after the second month, and in the end of the probation time. And this way you have 5 one-to-one feedback session where you prepare this person to be better at every single interaction. You also learn about the things that are happening in your own hotel, the culture. How is your team welcoming new hires? And by doing that, you learn so much. And Nah-Dja, from you, 3 steps that they can take to help them, that hoteliers can take now. Like after listening to this episode, they can, all right, I will try this now.
First thing that comes to my mind is you need to be structured. You need to have a understanding of what you want, structure that, and make sure that if somebody is onboarded, that the steps, including the follow-up meetings after 1 week, after 2 weeks, after 3 weeks, that you have that set up. And the cool thing about all of this, do it only once. Do it, write it down, keep those standards, and then implement it in your organization. So to get the standards done, the checklists and etc., of course, you can do it in a folder, you can do it in Google, or you can do it in Notion, which really excites me. You just need to know how to do it. So to be structured is part number 1. Get your thoughts into this process once, put it down, and then just repeat it and improve it over the course of your experience with onboarding.
And if the hotelier there doesn't understand Notion and it's a little bit, all right, I can't do this now because I need to learn Notion. First of all, you don't have to learn Notion to do this. You can talk to Nah-Dja and Nah-Dja can help you. All right. And what I'm suggesting to hoteliers is write the tasks that you have in the department in order. What task is task A, task B? Each task has a checklist to be completed. So write down the checklist of each one of these tasks. Then go to how I execute each item of the checklist. So how to execute. And then last thing, when you have to execute them. So here you go, a very simple framework to get your standards out in a paper. Number two, because assigning a work buddy, this I think that is one of the most valuable things on onboarding is to have someone there to welcome the new hire. If you think through and you already sent an email welcoming that new hire and they know what is going to be the agenda of the first day, it's not a discovery. So they are ready to actually come there and meet people. Meeting the people, walking through the property, seeing the rooms, the housekeepers, the chef, get to see everybody and be introduced to everybody is one of the most powerful and easy tasks that anyone can do for retention. Highly recommend assigning a buddy to walk through the property. Executable tomorrow. You can do that tomorrow. You don't need to wait. Okay? And Nah-Dja, number three.
Run an audit. Yeah, once you have your people on board, interact with them, ask them questions. And one of the best practices that people do is an NPS, a Net Promoter Score. Are your guests happy with your hotel? Is your client happy with your product? But the same thing you can do with your team. Is the team happy with the organization, the manager? To be anonymous, yeah, not to put people in front of a barrier, but to do an audit is something that I think the managers should implement immediately. Yeah, so you need to know the feedback. And if you have anonymous feedback, theoretically, you will get a lot more value out of it.
Yeah, audits, super important. We can audit also website. We can do that service, by the way, right? And then a shameless plug here, as we call a shameless plug. We can help with audits or how friendly your website is to hiring people, how welcoming you are to new hires. Do you have a page for people that want to work with you? This we can start doing straight away. Just look at your website and see how friendly you are. If you don't know your score, get in touch with us. We can score you on that. And now, Nah-Dja, let's talk about the future. Let's just be open now. The future.
The future. God
What's
knows what
the
the
hotel?
future will be, Mauricio.
Yeah, what's the hotel of the future, Nah-Dja? Hey everyone, I hope that you enjoyed the second episode of our discussion about hotel onboarding and training. This is the second part of a series of 3. If you want to go back and listen to the first one about the past of onboarding, you are welcome to do so. And hang on, because next week we're going to get into the future of onboarding in a very open-minded brainstorm. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I see you next time. Bye.